Good morning, Western Washington, and happy Thursday. I'm Matthew Fab with Western Washington Weather, and today we're going to take a look at the forecast for the next few days and take a look at the snow event that is ongoing for some parts of the Puget Sound metro area right now. So starting with the radar imagery over the past 24 hours or so here, about 12 hours or so here, you can see the low that was spinning offshore that pushed this band of snow into Western Washington. You can see that band of snow really affecting areas from Seattle northward there and some areas in the foothills as well. And that has brought some areas of snow accumulations heavy at times into these areas. Let's take a look at that real quick. So you can see with the temperatures, most areas from Seattle northward did get to right around or below freezing, just enough for where that heavy wet snow can make some impacts across this area. So especially Seattle northward through Everett to Arlington there got the most snow, although we've had some straight effect snow here along the northern strait of Juan de Fuca and some snow bands impacting parts of Whidbey Island and some areas points north here as well. You can see also where that Fraser outflow is still ongoing, as it is much colder across Bellingham, parts of Whatcom and Skagit counties than the rest of the region. I pulled a few traffic camera images here to look at where the snow happened. This is on Highway 202 near Woodinville there. You can see there's a decent amount of snow on the roads there and on the grass and stuff on the side of the road. And then here is Highway 526 at Evergreen Way up in Everett, and you can see a decent amount of snow there as well, but traffic seems to be moving pretty good. Here is US 2 near Highway 9, there between Lake Stevens and Snohomish, and you can see some pretty good snow there. See how much the trees are getting weighed down? That's because that snow is so wet. And then here is I-90 out at 284th Avenue outside of Issaquah, and you can see some of those foothill areas got some decent snow as well. So the European model didn't really get the location of this band right. It had it too far south over parts of Seattle and Tacoma and Olympia. So I've just skipped past that, and we can take a look at our next system. So through the rest of today, I would expect that snow band to wrap up by about midday, noon to 1 p.m. as the temperatures start to increase, so that could start to change to rain-snow mix during the day today. We'll see. As we go into tonight, we will clear out, and that's a key because it's going to get really cold across the region overnight into Friday morning. And then as we go through Friday, you can see that another system is going to start to approach the coast by Friday night, and this will likely bring some more snow potential to parts of the Puget Sound area. However, you can see that near the water, again, it's going to be on the rainier side, and this is really just going to be determined by, in some cases, your elevation, but also how heavy the precipitation gets. You can see that by 4 a.m. Saturday, the European model shows snow across areas mainly from Seattle southward through Portland there, and then that moves out of the area as we go into Saturday morning, potentially changing over to rain on the back side of it through Saturday night with potential convergence zone activity before we calm down into Sunday when those showers should diminish. And again, this really could be impacted by your elevation. Anywhere really close to the water could be seeing rain or rain-snow mix instead of snow, and it will also depend a lot on the temperatures, just like this last event did. As we go into Monday there, you can see potential for another convergence zone area forming there between Seattle and Everett, maybe right over downtown Seattle. We'll see how far some of those snow showers stretch through Monday, and then we start to dry out as we go into next week, and we could get very cold, so stay tuned for some more information on that over the next few days as we look at the potential cold temperatures into the middle of next week. Now we're going to look at 24-hour snowfall here on the European model. So you can see as we go into Friday night into Saturday morning, you can see where that potential snow will set up, mainly Seattle southward, down toward Portland there, and could bring a few hours of snow, maybe a couple of inches or so, to parts of the region from Seattle southward there and in the mountains through Saturday into Sunday morning there. And then you can see that potential convergence zone area of snow setting up there Monday morning on the European model that could bring some snow to parts of the Seattle metro, and then we are going to dry out for a bit there as we go into the middle of next week. So now taking a look at the NAM model, taking a look at the simulated radar, you can see if we play it back to overnight into early this morning, you can see it picked up that band a little bit, but it does show it diminishing by the time we get to about, that would be 11 a.m. there. And then as we go through tonight, you can see mostly clear on the radar. As we go into Friday evening, though, you can see snow start to move into the region, moves into Olympia by 8 a.m. or 8 p.m., and then you can see 9 p.m., 10, 11 is showing snow across parts of the Seattle metro area, and that continues at times through Saturday morning before changing over to rain for some places or just moving out of the area entirely. You can see this forecast has snow showers lingering through the day Saturday, but that will all depend on the temperatures at that time. And then you can see here the NAM's forecast for total snowfall there, with a couple of inches possible across the Seattle metro area with that storm on Friday night into Saturday morning. So definitely stay tuned to my briefing tomorrow, and we're going to look at that storm in a little bit more detail when all of our forecasts are going to be in detail, and we're going to try to see if there's any forecast agreement with that upcoming storm. Now, taking a look here, this is the European model. We're looking at minimum temperature for tomorrow morning there. So because it's going to clear out overnight, and especially for some areas, Seattle northward, with snow on the ground, that can actually make the temperatures even colder. So here is the European model forecast for low temperatures Friday morning. You can see areas from Seattle southward likely going to have lows in the outlying areas in the upper teens. And then along the I-5 corridor, they're in the low to mid-20s there on Friday morning. And then from Seattle northward, you can see lows in the mid-teens to low 20s. Some places east of I-5 here, especially in parts of northern King, Snohomish, and Skagit counties as well, there could have lows in the low to mid-teens, which would just be extremely cold for this area. So be sure to be very careful for those cold temperatures and the impacts that they can have Friday morning there. You can see along the Strait of Juan de Fuca also getting into the mid-teens there to upper 20s, and the same thing on the coast. Places like Hoquiam, inland towns like that, could get down to the low 20s, which is pretty significant for the coast. And then taking a look at the apparent temperature here, about 6 a.m. there on Friday, you can see light winds are going to make it feel even colder, with feels like temperatures in the mid-teens to low 20s for the Seattle metro area, and even colder than that in the single digits from Everett northward there with some of the Fraser outflow potential. So it's going to be very cold on Friday morning, that is for sure, and that is mainly because we're going to be clear overnight, allowing those temperatures to drop. So now let's take a look here at the extended forecast. You can see our polar lobe that's been impacting us over the last few days with that low spitting offshore is finally moving inland as we go through Friday. You can see that little system there Friday night into Saturday, and then you can see we start to have a different pattern coming here with potential more polar lobes and cold air into next week. You can see this troughing over the central U.S. It kind of starts to extend out here on the European model before it starts to push back in to the continent there toward the middle of February. We're looking pretty far out in the extended forecast, though, although there is starting to be more agreement on some colder weather next week for the Pacific Northwest, so stay tuned for more information on that. Also want to take a look at the national blended models, taking a look at low temperatures over the next few days. You can see there's agreement with the European model for Friday morning there, with lows in the upper teens to low 20s for most of the region, some mid-20s as well. You can see Saturday morning is going to be much warmer, and that is because of that marginal snow setup moving through. You can see the National Blended Models here has the areas that could have snow, basically Seattle southward, right around freezing. So it could be another very tricky forecast in terms of what areas get snow. You can see we cool down a little bit going into Sunday morning with lows in the upper 20s to low 30s for the metro area and mid-20s from Everett northward there. And then as we go into next week, you can see Monday and then Tuesday. Take a look at Tuesday of next week. The National Blended Models are showing lows in the teens for most of western Washington, continuing into Wednesday and then Thursday of next week. So we could have a pretty cold week ahead, and if we get any systems moving in here, there'd be a decent potential for some snow across the area. So definitely stay tuned over the next few days for more information on that. And as always, you can subscribe here on Western Washington Weather. My channel has been growing a lot, and that is awesome. I would love to see it continue growing, so please be sure to subscribe, like, and share these videos, and ring that notification bell. You can also follow me over on Blue Sky, on the Western Washington Weather Facebook group, and on X, and the links to all of those are in the description. So thank you all very much for watching, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.